pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Tonight's consent agenda consists of the following items. Item A, approve the minutes of the canvassing board meeting held on November 14th, 2024 to certify the 2024 general election results. Item B, schedule a public hearing for December 17th, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the City Council chambers at Winston City Hall to consider adopting amendments to the fee schedule ordinance. Item C, schedule a public hearing for December 17th at 6 p.m. in the City Council chambers at Winston City Hall to consider adopting amendments to the Winston Municipal Code with relation to cannabis in the City of Winston. Item D, adopt resolution R-24-37, authorizing application for the grants navigation program through the League of Minnesota Cities for the City of Winston. Item E, adopt resolution R-24-38, certifying unpaid utility charges and levying it as a special assessment to certain Winston properties. Item F, authorize the city administrator to execute a job proposal with CJ Cleaning and Restoration for janitorial cleaning at the Winston City Hall beginning January 1st of 2025. Item G, authorize the mayor to execute a liability coverage waiver form allowing the city of Winston to not waive the monetary limits on municipal tort liability established by the Minnesota State Statutes 466.04 for the 2025 property casualty insurance contract. Item H, authorize the city administrator to purchase $1 million in excess liability coverage for the 2025 property and casualty insurance contract. Item I, terminate the land lease agreement between the city of Winston and J. Farrell for hangar number 28 at the Winston Municipal Airport. Item J, approve the land lease agreement between the City of Winston and Kenneth Koovman for the hangar number 28 at Winston Municipal Airport based on the successful submission of all required documents and fees to the City of Winston. Item K, terminate the land lease agreement between the City of Winston and Stephen Roman for hangar number 32 at the Winston Municipal Airport. Item L, approve the land lease agreement between the City of Winston and John Bergerhoff for the hangar number 32 at the Winston Municipal Airport based upon the successful submission of all required documents and fees to the City of Winston. Item M, approve the pledged securities that Security Bank and Trust Company has purchased for the City of Winston for the month of October 2024. Item N, approve the building permit for the month of October 24. Item O, approve the financial report for the month of September 24. And the claims list, that's item P, approve the claims list for November 19, 2024. That's the consent agenda. I'm looking for a motion to adjourn that. Or no,
Mr. Mayor,
not yet. To approve that.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We're going to jump right into new business tonight, and first item now is item B, and we're going to do a development agreement with a leasing housing LLC, and I'll turn it over to Neil.
So I'm going to address items B and C together. This goes hand in hand with the Grass Lake Farms development, and this is in regards to the Minnesota Workforce Housing Loan that we have received. In order to receive that loan/grant funding, we need to have an agreement in place, and the second part of that's going to be having the documents to the Minnesota Department of Housing. So that's what it's really the loan documents are part of it, and then they are requiring another development agreement that is specific to the loan and how those funds are returned. So again, when I say loan, it is a zero interest loan. As long as everything is executed properly, it turns into a grant. So it's not something that need to be paid back.
Can you do everybody a favor and clarify for the citizens, because I've gotten questions on this again, that this is not a Section 8 housing, that this is a market rate apartment.
This actually cannot be a Section 8 housing development because of the steps that we are taking to go through this. So it absolutely is market rate.
Thank you.
So are we looking for two motions then? I mean, you
You'd
wanna
have
explain the
B
second
and
one?
C. Well, I did go through both of those, yeah.
And make a motion to authorize the mayor and city clerk treasurer to execute a development agreement by and between the city of Winsted, Minnesota, and Winsted Leased Housing LLC.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Looking for the next motion then?
Consider a motion to authorize the mayor and city clerk treasurer to execute a deferred loan agreement with Minnesota Housing Finance Agency and supporting documents as part of the Workforce Housing Development Program to expand workforce rental housing in the city of Winsted in conjunction with the Grass Lake Farm apartment project.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I will second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item D would be joint powers agreement, police protection services, Winston and Lester Prairie, Minnesota, and that, I'm sure you want to get into that, Neil.
We will a little bit. We've obviously been working on this for a long time, and we are here at the final stretch. Lester Prairie has adopted an agreement, mostly unchanged from the one that you had seen at the last council meeting. The only change that they really requested was to meet quarterly instead of semi-annually, and I think that's fair, at least to start. So we are just looking to approve the agreement that we had approved to move forward with. So entering those final stages so we can look to merge our police departments in 2025.
Any questions from the council? Comments? Motion?
I don't know, did you have anything to add, Justin, or?
And the activation date is January 1.
That is yet to be determined, but it will be after January 1st, sometime after that. Shortly after.
Any other questions? Motion, anybody?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to authorize the mayor and the city clerk treasurer to execute a Winsted Lester Prairie Police Department joint powers agreement to provide full-time police protection and service for the cities of Winsted and Lester Prairie.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We've come to the organization report tonight, and we've got at least a good hour. It's the What Up group.
I promise not to do that. Good evening, council members. I am here representing What Up Committee. My name is Amanda Zeidler. I also work for the city. The other committee members include Jeff Campbell, Rose Heimrell, Mike Henrich, and we typically try to have a high school student, but we don't right now. The most recent was Nicholas Muehlners, and he did a great job helping us out. We just try to keep them engaged, to give them the opportunity to serve the community at a younger age, and then also to help us to plan events that will meet the needs and wants of kind of the younger age group to be a little more trendy, I guess, and to make it more exciting. So most of you, I think, are familiar that What Up started out of the Blandon Group. It was created due to a lack of community events, and specifically to have family and free events that are local, so people don't have to travel, so they don't have to expend anything if they maybe are tight on money, and to encourage family time together that a lot of people don't get anymore. So that is our purpose, and we try to work with several community groups to do that and to accomplish that purpose as well. We've worked with the Lions in the past when they were active, with the Arts Council, with the Winsted Fire Department. They help us out each year, and it's a great way for us to work together to reach out to the community and work on that and to meet those needs. So our events are usually held Fridays or Saturdays. We've pared it down a little bit from what we started with, just because we found there were some events that weren't as successful, so we didn't want to keep doing that. So what our main events are movies in the park, which are usually held in June, July, and August. We have moved to September if the weather has not been on our side, but we try to plan around things like Summer Festival, Windstock, things like that to make it good timing as well. The July movie is usually sponsored by the Winsted Fire Department Relief Association, so that is usually held indoors at the fire department. So at least it's one day that we don't need to worry about the weather, but it's nice for the community to see them reaching out as well and get to know each other that way. And a lot of them have families, so it's fun for them to interact and engage in that as well. Our other big event is our Halloween Bash that we were excited to bring back this year. We had to take a year off last year, but that was held here at City Hall towards the end of October. And we have free pumpkins that the families can paint and decorate. We also have a witch's corner where they can try out different things. We have face painting, we have a hay ride, we hand out candy and hot apple cider, things like that. And it's been very well attended every year that we've ever had it. It's been fun to see kind of even the generations change since we started it, to see the new generations coming. So again, the weather held out nicely for us, so we appreciate the support from the council on that. Our funding sources, we usually try to budget about $1,500 per year. Unfortunately, the movies we do have to have licensed, so they are expensive. They run between $300 and $400 usually, and I think that amount is only going up in the future. So that's hard to stomach sometimes, but we know why we're here and what we're doing. So there are some generous donors that help support that as well. So some of those include the Winsted Chamber, Jeff Campbell's Realty Business of Century 21, the Winsted Fire Department and ATHC, and then the city also generously gives us a stipend towards all of those things as well. So at that point, if you have other questions for me, we just really want to thank you for the support, and we appreciate you backing what we do because it's an important thing for our community. It's nice to see those families and how you can just see that they're grateful and they're gracious that we have that available to them. So
I just have one question. Has the participation from the groups been more over the years, or has it stayed about the same?
You know, it ebbs and flows. So it just depends, you know, if there are other events, because there are a lot of community events throughout the summer. So our movies, we tend to compete with different things a little more than we'd like. But I would say depending on what we're showing, like our movies, we try to keep very current and very new, like new releases. So that's helped quite a bit. But for the most part, I'd say we've stayed pretty much the same. So we get from the movies, we can get anywhere from 30 to 60 or 70 people there.
Right.
So
I'm just blown away at
Yeah.
That's crazy, just a terror movie.
it is. And I mean, obviously we could do it without the license, but that's not the right way to do it. And we want to follow the rules. And it is a little bit less expensive if we have an indoor movie. So that's why the fire hall is nice, because we can save on our budget there a little bit. But yeah, it's just trying to do the right thing on both sides. So
Never guessed.
no.
And that fee is charged by who?
We work through Swank Motion Pictures, but there's a couple of different companies that you can order the movies from and you can get the licensing. So in our case, we get the licensing and then we can purchase the movie and then we can donate it to the library or things like that. So we try to give back where we can.
You said Swank Motion Pictures.
Correct.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it?
And they do a lot. I mean, they've got different, if you look at their website, they definitely have it set up geared towards, they have like Parks and Rec or colleges or schools or things like that. So they've been really good to work with. So we appreciate that.
Are they on reel-to-reel or VCR? Or?
DVD, it's Blu-ray. Yeah. At some point we'll be streaming, we figure, but we're not there yet.
What's streaming?
Because I have all kinds of VCRs or movies
VHS.
left from our store that you would not have to pay for. You could just use them.
Yep. We have talked about maybe upgrading our screen. So far, all of our equipment's hanging in there and been really good. It's not outdated, which is kind of crazy considering technology and the advances we've made. But our screen, we're getting to the point where we may try to upgrade that in the next year or two, but I think we've got some sponsors and we've got some funding left over yet too that we might put towards that. So otherwise, like I said, we try to keep a pretty tight budget and only ask for what we need. And the Halloween bashes, you know, other than the movie, the Halloween bash, we do quite a bit, but we've got some generous donors with pumpkins too, where they give us a good deal. And it's, you know, the paint and candy and things like that that add up. But other than that, it's been good. So any other?
Questions or comments for Amanda? Well, thank you for running the program and all
Yeah.
your help.
Yes. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
We've come to the open forum section of the meeting. If anybody has anything they want to address the council, step up to the microphone and state your name and address. And okay, we have no takers, so we'll move on to the city administrator update and announcements. Neil?
Yeah, I don't have a lot for tonight either. I have, I'm guessing we're going to be adding our winter parking signs and putting them back up. They came down accidentally with the poles, the old poles, so we'll have some new signage coming. But that does not mean that the winter parking will not be enforced, so just something to be aware of. So winter parking will still be enforced regardless of signage or not. And we have a public hearing on truth and taxation on our next council meeting on the 3rd.
That's it, Neil?
That's all I have.
Any questions for Neil? Jeff, do you have anything?
I have nothing.
Jesse? Jim?
No, sir.
Well, then I'm going to make a motion. We adjourn.
I'll second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.